How's it going, everyone? ND Sean 45 coming at you. Just to get it out of the way, like the rest of you, I saw the playoff committee's recent rankings last night, and some of you are probably expecting me to go on some kind of angry tirade and bash the committee amongst other things. No, I'm not going to do that. You see, the only ranking that matters is the one that gets made on December 6th. Okay? Now, don't get me wrong. I do have my own thoughts and opinions on last night's rankings, and if I wanted to, I could devote an entire video to it. But I will say this for now. I do think it's very sad and disappointing that we now are in an age where you can be punished for winning. Okay? Now, don't get me wrong, people. I get that this past Saturday there were a couple of upsets, and that the Irish did not have a great performance against Boston College in Fenway Park. Okay? It was very bad, very sloppy. It was a sloppy win. But last time I checked, a sloppy win is still a win. And as I already said, I think it's very disappointing that no matter what kind of win it was, that you can now be punished for winning. It's really sad. But anyway, if anything, this should serve as great motivation for Brian Kelly and the Fighting Irish on Saturday against Stanford. You see, right now the critics, as they usually do, all the blowhards in the media, they're already guaranteeing this one to be a loss for the Irish. And think about it. Think about it. If I'm Brian Kelly and the Fighting Irish, and I see how the playoff committee voted, they're saying that at this point in time, they're saying that you're not good enough to be in the playoffs. Well, if that doesn't serve as more motivation for this week's game against Stanford, then I don't know what else does. So that's where I think the Irish need to take the negative and turn it into a positive. Use that as motivation for this weekend. Because if last night's rankings doesn't fire them up and piss them off, I don't know what else will. But with that said, let's get to the preview for this week's game. This week, hard to imagine, the final game of the 2015 regular season. They just seem to move by so fast these days. Stanford Cardinal. Very solid football team. 9-2. Obviously, Northwestern and Oregon found a way to get it done against the Cardinal. Still, though, even though this is a 9-2 team, this is not going to be easy by any means for the Irish. We have not won at Palo Alto since 2007, and as we already know, if the Irish want to keep their playoff hopes alive, this is a must-win. Hands down, must-win. But now I'm just stating the obvious. But Stanford, they have a lot of firepower on their team, especially their offense. I believe overall in offense, they're ranked 37th in the country. Defense at 41 overall. So this is a very well-balanced out football team. Offense, as usual, I start most of my previews basing the whole game plan around the quarterback. Kevin Hogan, probably one of the best quarterbacks in college football. Over 2,200 yards passing, 19 touchdowns, and 7 picks. Out of the backfield, he's handing the ball off to Christian McCarthy and Barry Sanders Jr., two very solid running backs, especially McCarthy, leads the way with 7 touchdowns, and I believe a little over 600 yards rushing. Receiving, you got 2 deep threats in Mike Rector and Austin Hooper. I've seen that these guys have both had touchdowns of 70 yards plus. So you're not careful, they're going to burn you. So what does that say for strategy for the Notre Dame defense? Well, hands down, we got to put pressure on Kevin Hogan. Got to get to him. Got to keep him off balance. That's where it starts. One concerning thing is our defensive backfield. which at times they've been shaky this season. But things definitely get a little more worrisome this week because Kavari Russell is now out for the season with a broken, I think it was a broken fibula, I think. It was a leg injury, I know that, and it was season ending. So now we're going to have a bunch of young guys starting in the defensive backfield. Devin Butler and I forget the names of the other two guys. I'm sorry, but they're names that I haven't really heard before. But it's going to be a somewhat of an inexperienced defensive backfield. But we've got to find a way to contain these two receivers in Stanford's passing game, which is pretty solid. Of course, and I probably should have said this first, the big thing is we have got to protect the football. I mean, last week against Boston College, we could have been it looked like we were in a commercial advertisement for Crisco. We could not hold on to the damn ball. Got to change that this week. It is, and I can't stress enough. It is vital that we hold on to the football, and not only do we not turn it over, but we cannot turn it over in the red zone when we're that close from getting points. Basically, to sum it up, if we play this game like we did against Boston College, we are screwed. We're not winning this one. So we have got to play the most sharpest football we have played in our lives. We want to make the playoffs. We got to come ready to play. And I know it's easier said than done, but it's just a fact. Okay. The good thing about last week is we got the sloppiness out of our system. So we should be prepared for this one. Yeah, I mean, offensively, as I've said, we can't turn the ball over. With CJ Prosise being out as far as the running game is concerned, Josh Adams is really going to need to step it up. I mean, we know he can do it, but it's going to come down to him, and I think we'll definitely see some more of Dexter Williams in there as well. But these two young running backs, they've got to step it up and pretty much to this point play the game of their lives. Deshaun Kaiser, he's got to improve on his game as well. Not a good performance for him last week at all. So he's got to be ready to go. No mistakes, no mental mistakes. Just get past the ugliness and get back on track to performing well like we know he can. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much the basics. Everyone has got to be doing their part, and everyone has to step up to that next level. Because playoffs are on the line here. I mean, at this point, we've pretty much clinched a New Year's Day 6 bowl, but obviously that's not what we're shooting for. We're shooting for something higher. So the way I see this game going down, if Notre Dame can execute properly, protect the football, other things like keeping our defense off the field, giving them the appropriate amount of rest, then I see us winning this game. It's not going to be a blowout, but I think we do have the potential to win this game by a couple of scores if everything goes according to plan. So, my final score prediction for this one, I see it being Notre Dame 31, Stanford 20, if everything goes according to plan. But it wouldn't surprise me one bit if this game wasn't close. But of course, if we, as I said earlier, if we play like we did against Boston College, we're going to get blown out bad. So all I can say is, guys, how do you want it to go? Do you want to prove all the critics and the haters correct, or do you want to shove it right in their face and shut them the hell up? It's up to you guys. So I have faith in you guys. I know you can do it. So go out to Palo Alto and get the job done. So with that, guys, that's all I have for you. And before I forget, with this being Thanksgiving week, I hope you all have a great and wonderful Thanksgiving with your families and friends. Be safe if you're traveling in crappy weather. And as I always tell you guys every video, or at least started to this season, I say God bless. And as always, go Irish, baby. Beat Cardinal. Prove all the haters wrong and shove it up their ass.